Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to this virtual conference. We are glad to be part of this virtual conference on modern media ministry. Um, would like to thank all the participants who actually came for this session. We are glad to be part of this session, and we are hoping this session will bless you, you and the ministry you are leading. My name is LC. And the name of my friend is. Oh, we can hear you actually because I think your mic is muted. Still can hear you. Maybe try to connect and reconnect your microphone because we can't hear you and we can't see you. But anyway, I'm not alone. I'm with Mathieu. He will try to reconnect back to this conference, and we are really glad to be part of this conference. I think there's some people from UK, from US, and so on, and we are really blessed to have you today. So the topic of our uh, discussion today, it's called audio mixing approaches for your live stream. And basically today we are going just to discuss about the audio mixing approaches when it comes to live stream. And this is the menu of today. So our menu basically, we had a couple of points that we are going to talk about. I think actually it's 9 a.m. in Eastern time, it's 2 p.m. in UK time, and it's afternoon here in Paris, in France. So we are going to discuss a few points mentioned in the presentation you're actually seeing, and then we are going to discuss as a group, because this is not just a session when you can just add your comment on the chat. This is also a participative roundtable. So we are really hoping that after our presentation you'll be glad to join us into our Zoom meeting in order to give your different perspective on the things we are going to present today. So Mathieu, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Very
Can you
nice.
hear? Okay, you hear me.
Yes, very good. So we are going, before starting, to present ourselves. So my name is Louis Caleb. You can call me Louis or AC. And basically, I am a university teacher, and I was born again since 2011. I've been in the media ministry for over 14 years, because before being born again, I was also being a volunteer in my local church. And my interest on media is basically video production. And I am currently the communication director at my church, the International Center of Worship and Praise, called Ciel Ministries in France. Matthew, what about you?
Yes, hello, everybody. I'm Mathieu. I'm a video engineer. I'm born again since 2011, and I've been in Ministries for 11 years. And at the first, I was interested for projection and media, and after for audio gigs. And I am a media leader in Open Door Church in France.
So we are part of the collective that are called Trésor Tech. So Mathieu, can you explain what is Trésor Tech?
Yes, Trezor Techs start in the end of at the end of years of 2019, and this is very recent. And we create this collective in association. This association is Trezor Media. We have a group. We are a group of volunteers to willing accompany church and organization is a challenge related to technology and audiovisual production over the French-speaking community and beyond. And we are a group of volunteers, and we try to help different church with their challenge to improve their level to be to have uh, a, a good level for audio gears.
Yeah, thank you, Mathieu, for this slide presentation of Tech. So, as you can see, we are French, so excuse our English. We are not that proficient when it comes to English, but we try to give you our perspective on audio mixing based on what we have seen from the whole teaching and auditing we've seen from churches. So the first perspective we are willing to discuss today is the hybrid service the new normal in worship? So basically, we just get into this COVID situation, and it's still happening up today. And the majority of the church we are consulting thought that would be interesting to maintain what they call the hybrid services. And the hybrid services is basically the mix, the combination between the house, the in-house service, and the live stream service. And this decision was basically made when we made the survey during a course dedicated to church and video production 2 years ago, and there were more than 1,000 people connected to this conference, to this course. So I think for us, it is really important to now emphasize the idea of making a combination of both in-house service and live stream services. So basically, what is the hybrid services? The hybrid services is basically the capacity for the media ministry to maintain an atmosphere of worship that is similar to the in-house of worship services. And basically, we have to, as a media department, to maintain this atmosphere, whether the guys are listening to the service at home, in front of the computer, in front of the phone, in front of the tablet, or even a TV. We have to maintain this level of worship based on the traditional configuration that we have in most of the churches. And the really good question of this session was really how to maintain this level of worship. And to begin on this maintaining of this level, we need to understand the necessity of the gear, what we call the audio setup. The audio setup. Most of the gear bought or acquired from the churches are basically based from front of house worship. And for the live stream, few of these churches possess the means to produce a proper live stream mix. For live stream, depending on the budget, depending on the configuration, depending on the service approaches, one service, two service, three service, most of these churches could not afford the latest technology in audio, soundboard, interface, etc. So basically, we are in front of two, let's say, two approach of churches. The church that's still using analog console, and the church that's still using digital consoles. And to present to you our configuration, we decided to show up to you a different configuration from our churches. I will start maybe with Mathieu. So Mathieu, tell us a little bit about the audio setup from your church. Open Doors, please.
Yes, in my church, Open Doors, we have choose to separate the two mixing console. We have one mixing console for the church to have the main output directly in the house, and we have separate another mixing console for the stream. And this output will go directly on the switcher video, and the output of the switcher video with the video and also the sound will be on the PC to with the software Wirecast to stream to YouTube, for example, or Vimeo. But this shows it can be possible because we have more audio technician of volunteer, but it needs to be a different type of mixing about the FOH the front of house for the church and for the stream. We will be in detail the difference for the stream mix after.
Thank you, Mathieu. And when it comes to our audio setup in our church, the International Center for Worship and Praise, we do not have enough technician when it comes to audio sound. So basically, we went into a configuration called one soundboard, two mixes. Basically, we have only one soundboard, and it will be let's say giving two type of mixes, one based from the front of house and one based from the mix, and the audio feed from the soundboards into the mix will be either gave into the switcher thanks to a bus configuration, or directly to the software we use for streaming, that is Remix, thanks to a USB bus and control, if possible, into a door. There will be a session, I think, about door in this conference, so we don't have to go further into this vocabulary. So basically, this is our main mix approach for the church that have more volunteers, that are more technicians. They'll be able to use two type of soundboard, and for the medium or small churches, we have only one technician for two mixes. But this is about the digital console. We have seen a lot of church also that do not possess, let's say, digital console. Most of the church we visit possess what they call analog console. So basically, what we advise to them is to use the analog console buses to give one feed to the main room, and to create another mix for the streaming. This mix will go to a switcher. It could be an ATEM, it could be a live wedge, it could be a matrix, and the whole video feed with the audio feed we get into a software, usually free software like OBS. And there's another approach from church using the analog console. They will add maybe a second interface, a USB interface, in which they will put a variation of mixes, like one mix for the choir, one mix for the music, one mix for let's say the crowd, one mix for the pastor, and all these mixes are going to be put into either the video switcher, or directly, thanks to the USB configuration, into the software that is OBS, VMix, etc., etc. So these are the configuration we have so far seen and advised to the church we are actually auditing. So from this configuration, it's time for us to talk about what is in the soundboard and what is going through the live stream. And to understand this perception, we must understand first the mix. Do we mix into what we call an auxiliary or a bus, or do we mix into a matrix? To understand both implementation, we need to understand what is the matrix, what is an auxiliary. When it comes to matrix, the matrix allows you to create a slight variation for your mix. And basically, you can create a copy of your main mix, and then allows you to make a slight, and I really emphasize on the word slight, variation from the main mix, the overall mix. And in this matrix, you can have three types of modification. You can either EQ the matrix mix. You can't specifically EQ each track from the mix, but you can only EQ the main mix. You can add a compression to the matrix mix. You can add also effect, like applying, for example, a compressor, a limiter, a reverb, a graphic EQ, but you can't put effect on each track from the mix. And basically, we use the matrix mix in Soundchurch when we have auxiliary room, like I don't know, the lobby, the hallways, the nursery, the foyer. So basically, we use this uh, mix in order to send the main mix, so the mix from the room, into another room. So this is why these type of mix are not really advised to use in live stream. The second the second mix we are really emphasizing is about the bus or the auxiliary mix. So basically, the auxiliary mix is a mix that allows you to create a different variation, a very different variation from the main mix, sorry. And it's like I don't know, creating a mix for wages or ear monitor, but destined only for those who are online that can hear through the headphone or through the TV, etc. So you have many modification that allows you to mix in the main or in the auxiliary. You can basically EQ the bass mix. You can add a compression to the bass mix. You can insert effect in each track of the mix, and you can also add effect into the overall bass mix. So this is why when it comes to live stream, it is most advised to use the approach by using the auxiliary mix rather than the matrix mix. Okay, so uh, more than this mix, there are a couple of things we want to add. For example, what we call crowd microphone. Mathieu, can you tell us about crowd microphone, please?
Yes, crowd microphone is very important things because it can be improve your sound gears and improve your sound about your atmosphere of your room to be input it for the stream to your audience. And for to choose a crude mic, you need to choose a static microphone because it's better to capture small sound, and also the sound are distant. And we need to choose also a microphone can be cardioid or supercardioid to be directly uh, to can choose a direction of your microphone. Uh, this microphone can be placed at different position, but we advise to position this microphone on the on the uh, be- on the front of the congregation, on the front of the people, to keep the sound of the when the people sing, and also when the people applause or different things. And this microphone, you can also take the sound of the room to have the uh, best sound to your mix. It's important to direct your microphone to the center of your room to have the best audio sound. And ideally, you don't need to put it in the field of your loudspeaker. The better place is maybe just below or just upper your loudspeaker to don't take the sound of the loudspeaker. There is different option to connect your crowd mic. The first option 1A we have called is with an analog console. To plug your crowd mic in a USB interface. The advantage of this setup is to you can't have the risk of a feedback, but the disadvantage of this setup, you have basic parameter to adjust just maybe the gain, but in the major case you can't adjust EQ or other things, and you can plug in this microphone with a different option, the option 1B. With the 1B option, you can plug in your microphone directly in analog console. It can be an advantage to have a more to adjust the sound of your microphone, like EQ, to have a good to have a better sound. But the disadvantage or the risk is to have a feedback if you uh, input your microphone into your mix. But it's very risk to use this setup. If you have an analog console, we advise to use a USB interface. If you have if you have numeric console, or digital console is very easier because you can routing your mic in your console, and you can assign directly into a bus, especially for the stream, and you are sure it not will be to your in your loudspeaker in your house. And it's the advantage with the digital console, it's also to have more parameters to adjust this microphone, like EQ, compressor, on other things, to adjust the sound about your crowd mic. After this advantage of to have a crowd mic, it's also to have the ambient sound about the room into your stream mix, to have for your audience to have a good atmosphere of the worship, and to hear also the people sing, and to hear the different sound into your room. But if you use it, you can have some different adjustment. You need to use different adjustment about your stream. You need to less the loud instrument, in particular the piano, and maybe in increase your instrument like battery. And but with a digital console, you can have the possibility to change the EQ with different to adjust the EQ for the broadcast and other EQ for the room. But the most important things also, it's also to use the compressor to accentuate the output of the mix, to have to to can with the compressor you can have the possibility to u- to use the not all the dynamic of your sound, but just to adjust it to have a stable dynamic output. In all cases, it's highly recommended to use the auxiliary output of the mixer, but it's also recommended to send your track into the auxiliary bus, is post father or AFL.
Okay, thank you, Matthew, for this insight on crowd mics. So now we talk about the importance of the gear. We talk about the importance of having a specific setup, a specific configuration for audio mixing, especially for live stream. We talk about the use of crowd mics. Our crowd mics are really important to give this ambience, to give this atmosphere into the worship. So those who are connected into the service can also experience what we are experiencing inside the front of house. So now it is time to talk about the coloration for the live stream, because inside our church we do have some colorations, we do put some effect, we do put some compression and stuff. So it is important also to understand that the live audio is supposed to be dynamic. The music volume can rise and fall. The pastor mic can whisper and shout. The worship leader can shout. The drummer may force its game, so it can be either high or low. But consider that your live stream should have the benefit of a consistent, even feed, regardless of all the dynamic that have been put into the FOH mix. So if you need it, you could compress, you could add effect, you could boost your live stream, but it's not really obligated, mandatory to use this dynamic into the live stream. So now, inside and outside the live stream, it's also important to, despite the comprehension of audio mixing, to understand all the gear you are using. So when it comes to inside the live stream, whether it is a hardware or a software switcher, you must understand what does the switcher offers as a volume enhancer. We talk about this volume input enhancer because we have seen in some churches that before starting the services, there will be a countdown video. There will be a video input for music, for announcement and stuff. And the volume of the video will be, let's say, in +5. And then transitioning into the live services, it can go from +5 to 0 or even -5. So it is important as you are transitioning between those inputs to have the most average volume for both inputs. You want to add something about that, Mathieu?
Yes, before to start your live stream, I think it's a good idea. I advise you to check all your video or your countdown, or if you have the good level about your mix, and you need to check it if you have a compressor about your media input or PC input to don't to have a good sound. Also, when at the beginning of your live, the all your audience will be set the level in in the room, like on the smartphone, on the tablet, on the TV. All the people will be set the level of the sound, and after, if you have a big gap of your start when you start your service, it can be very difficult to change suddenly the sound. So we advise to check it before, and to try it if you need it, to try maybe before to put your countdown video, and after start the first song, and we need to check if you have a good level, and after you need to can compensate with a compressor, or you need to adjust your gain about your different bus or auxiliary.
Okay, so that's inside the live stream, and then outside the live stream. So the same way you are checking inside the live stream, you need to check also outside the live stream. What do we mean by outside? So basically, you need to always check the volume of the live stream inside your different platform. whether you live streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, on Vimeo, even on Zoom, you need to always check the volume. If the volume, as the illustration is shows, is going red, you are overcompensating your volume, and you need to make sure every time that volume is the red, you need to reduce a little bit in order to stay into the yellow. Usually, we say it is better for the stream to at least be on on +1 and not go further +5. You also need, during these live streaming services, to mute and unmute necessary input during the phases, because we are so concentrated into our mix services that sometimes we do forget about the input, maybe a crowd microphone, maybe a music microphone that has been used during the worship, and that is not really needed into the sermon, or maybe I don't know, like a piano that is not being used during the sermon. You need to mute and unmute unnecessary input during the phases. And remember that in the majority of the churches, especially small and medium churches, the majority of the servants are volunteer. They are not professional. This is not their daily jobs. So you need to be indulgent. You need to be indulgent as possible. You need to understand that these are not their main job. So in order to assure an average approach of mix, you always need to create what we call a checklist. And we will give you a checklist inside the chat. Mathieu, do you want to add more things about this?
No, but yes, you not specifically. If you want to continue, you can.
Okay, so basically, we talk about the necessity of having a specific setup. We talk about the inside of the setup, like adding a crowd mic. Um, we talk about the mixing approaches on each track from the buses or the matrix, and we just finish about the checking process. Always check the process. As we said, this is a participative roundtable. So we are hoping to have questions that we can see from the chat. If people are also willing to get into our Zoom meeting to give their insight, feel free to just join the link we are putting right down there. So we wait for a few minutes. If people are willing to join the meeting, the link is really put. Just click on the meeting and we'll be glad to add you into the meeting. You can also ask your question. Thank you, Darius. Great content. So there was one question about the crowd mic on the variety of the crowd mic we can recommend. We do have a presentation, but it's written in French. But we will be glad to show you this presentation. Let me just try to figure the presentation while I'm reading the question. So one question, maybe Mathieu, you can respond to this question if you see the chat, or I'll just put the question into the Zoom chat. This is the question. And I will add the Don into our conversation. So Mathieu, can you please respond to this question on the chat, Zoom chat, and then I'll add Don into our conversation. Mathieu?
Yes, I don't have all understand the question. Uh,
So basically, okay. So um, the question is, I have a Behringer X32 compact. I do also have a Behringer, and a few weeks ago the built-in interface stopped working. I've not been able to figure why, and I ran the audio off the main port. Any suggestion? So, Art, maybe you should try to restart the restart the soundboard in order to check if the how do you call it the firmware is the good firmware, because sometimes it's the firmware that has a problem. And don't also forget to try to um, restart back the process from the USB interface. Sometimes it's not really the soundboard, it can be the computer, because also the computer, we didn't talk about the computer earlier, but the computers are really necessary in order to gather all the input, especially from big console like the X32. So maybe either try to restart back the firmware from the X32, or you can try to see if the computer has any problem. I hope I respond to your question. So we do have a couple of guests. So we welcome Suzanne, we welcome Don, and I think we welcome Brian. So if you want to add a comment, feedback into the meeting, feel free to ask your question or to say something. Maybe we're done. We start with Don. Or Suzanne, ladies first.
I'm trying to get it. I've got everything up now. On your picture, the pictures with the audio setup, you had like where it was one mixer on its own. There was like a picture of um, a small device with XLR inputs in. What before it went to the PC? Do you know what was that like US?
You mean the USB interface?
Yes. What's one of those?
Okay, so basically, there's a ton of USB interface. It can be either one input, two input. There's a variety of USB interface. These are the low budget interface, because most of the people do music, so they use this interface in order to integrate, for example, one mic or one instrument. So sometimes when you are still in the analog console, you can use this interface in order to create a specific mix for live stream. Um, so this interface does not cost too much. I have actually one in my area that cost I think $50. So 45 euros, for example, is really neat. You can use it to basically mix the live stream, and you can also configure the volume inside the interface. So this is the less, let's say, the less expensive gear when it comes to live stream. You can also buy another mixer, like a small digital mixer, and also you will find a variety of small digital mixer going from $50 to 300, and the process is actually the same. I think it's even better to use a small mixer, because you have more input, like a compressor, like a EQ, or like a gain, and you can really create something different from the front of house mixing.
I think the problems we have is obviously it doesn't sound like what it sounds like in church, and probably you spoke about crowd mics. We did have one mic, but it's broke now. But it did used to make a difference because you get a fuller sound of the building. But so I need to buy some more. Can you recommend any the crowd mics or condenser mics I would be looking at, or
Yes, yes, of course. We do have let me just try to stop my screen sharing because we do have a presentation, but it is written in French about crowd mics, and we have a whole range of microphone going from $45 to 300. Maybe Mathieu, by the time I'm trying to find the presentation, you can add more things. Hello, Mathieu? Still with us?
Yeah, yes, I'm here. You have the document, or I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to share it?
Maybe you can try to share the document because I don't see the document in front of me.
Okay, I will display it. Just 2 seconds.
And then maybe Don can intervene just after this presentation. And don't worry for the people that are connected into the chat. We send your question, and we try also to respond to your question. So by the time Matthew is actually looking for the file, there was one question from Jaquel, and it's addressed to Mathieu. So, Matt, how do you connect your two mixer?
Um,
Mathieu, how do you connect your two mixer, one from the FOH and one from the stream? Is it over internet?
yes, it is over internet. We have a stage box on the stage, and we plug all the XLR on jack of the instrument or the mic. And with this stage box, we use over internet connection to the two different to the two different soundboard to have a independent mixing.
Okay, okay, very nice.
And now I can show you the different type of mic. Yeah, Susan, you can show it.
Thank you.
It's the price is in euro, but I think it's the same, approximately the same in US dollar.
Can I actually save that or not? I can't see how I can save that picture, can I?
The size,
Um,
Beg your pardon, you talk about the size?
oh no, sorry. If I could save the picture,
Oh yeah, I mean don't
save me
worry.
writing it.
I mean don't worry because we will send you all the documents after the conference. This is not something prior for us. We are really willing to share this document, so we can either send you this document in French or you can give us like maybe a day or two in order to write an English paper if you want to.
As long as it's got the part numbers, it should be. I should be okay. You having a look at those. Which ones like? There's some quite expensive ones, isn't there?
yeah, in this page. In the previous page, it's more cheapest.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh yes, yes. Um,
But you can start by maybe the cheapest one. In our church, we had one, maybe it's the one in the AKG. Yeah, maybe because it cost us 100 euros, and it is one of the cheapest one, and it does the job very very much. So basically, we just put this microphone on 2 meters above